2021 NBA season preview. And I got my special guest on the right here. He's the host of Mark My Words podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. And he's also behind the scenes at Fox Sports 1, I believe Undisputed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
But I got my guy with me, Mark Gunnels. Mark, how you doing this evening, my brother?
I'm good, man. How you doing? I'm a little bummed about Notre Dame, but I'm all right.
Yeah, it was kind of tough, man. Like Clemson, they was a little healthier this time. They had Trevor Lawrence back, so it was gonna be a little tough for the Domers to win 2 times in a row. But hey,
yeah, that was tough.
It is what it is, man. But yeah, man. Shoot, you got anything new going on lately besides those 2 things?
Man, just staying up working my podcast still, Fox, and I don't know if you know I'm a father now, man. So I got a little one.
Oh, shoot. Well, congratulations, man.
Yeah. So doing that as well.
Yeah, that just came. You just came out of nowhere with that one.
Oh yeah, I post them. You probably don't see it, but yeah.
Yeah, no wonder you got that full beard going on now.
Right.
Well, that's what's up, man. Well, let's get to it, man. Me and you, we like to talk hoops a lot. You know what I mean? We're looking forward to this year's NBA season, and let's get right to it, man. But first off, let's start off with the headlines real quick. The obvious top headline is James Harden. He still wants out of Houston, and the latest is that Philly looks to be the front runner trying to get him. So I know they was trying to include Ben Simmons in a couple of draft picks. So do you think this deal gets done eventually?
Yeah, I think it gets done eventually. There's a lot of smoke right now. People throwing out names and leaking sources. It's really messy right now, but I think it has to happen because now you got Ben Simmons' name involved. You don't want that to leak over into the regular season too deep. And then obviously James Harden's been worn off for weeks now. And it's just really tough. You got a lot of new guys there. You got John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Christian Wood, a new head coach. So it's a lot of newness in Houston. And when you have your best player not all the way in, I know he's still going to be playing games and showing up to practice and doing all the right things, but deep down inside, he doesn't want to be there. So if you're Houston with a new head coach, especially, you don't want that to leak into the season too much. Now, I think he's going to start the year there because we're only, 3 days away. So he will start the year there, I believe, but I think he'll be gone by Martin Luther King Day at the latest, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, I probably say that's about right. It's just that I know at first Philly was trying to do like a straight James Harden for Ben Simmons, but Ben Simmons is nowhere near the same level of player as James Harden. So you have to include draft picks or at least another player that nature in the trade deal. So I think all the perimeters will eventually get worked out. Now, if this trade does go down, I think this boosts Philly up. I think Philly has a chance to be a top 4 team in the East, if not just on the outside of it. If they get James Harden to go along with Embiid, I think they'll be a nice duo. Now, Houston, they'll be on the losing end, and you just got to figure out where Ben Simmons is going to fit in that offense because they already got a point guard in John Wall that can distribute and run the offense. So Ben Simmons, you kind of have to put him as like a stretch forward maybe, or try to get him to work down the post, like get him to work on his post moves and everything so he can be effective.
Yeah, he'll have to be the power forward for sure because obviously he can't shoot. So he's got to be on the block and be more of a, like you said, more of a low post guy. Him and Christian Wood probably have Boogie off the bench because you got to start Wood. Wood is really nice. I'm really high on him. I think he's going to win Most Improved Player of the Year. He has a little bit of Anthony Davis in this game, I
Okay.
see it there. He's long, he's athletic, he can shoot the 3 ball, he can dribble a little bit. It's some in there. I'm not saying he's AD at all, but I'm just saying there's a little bit there. And I think it'll be good for the long term, obviously, because John Wall's not the long-term answer in Houston. Once his deal's up, they'll cut their ties with him, and then they'll build around Ben Simmons moving forward. So,
okay. Well, that's interesting. But yeah, I've always been high on Christian Wood myself. I've been high on him since Milwaukee, Detroit days, and I was just waiting on him to get an actual opportunity to play minutes so he can actually prove that he's a worthy talent in the National Basketball Association. So, it's interesting to see that. It was interesting to hear that you say that he could win Most Improved Player of the Year, and he probably is going to contend if he gets the opportunity. for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's just more of it's a minutes thing, honestly. The minutes and stats. Because last year he only played, I think, 21 minutes a night, and still had like 13 and almost 10. So you got to assume he's gonna play over 30 minutes now, and he could possibly be a 20 and 10 guy. So just with that alone, that big jump, I think he'll be one of the front runners for most improved player.
All right. Well, we're gonna get down to your little award selections later on in the show, so I'll remember that. Now, the next now the next subject here is the KD, Kyrie, and the Brooklyn Nets. You seen last night they went on played the Celtics. They looked pretty good offensively. They went ahead and blew them out pretty convincingly. Now, my thing, what I see from Brooklyn is they are definitely explosive offensively. They're 10, 11, maybe 12 deep as a roster in general. But my issue with Brooklyn is this. Not to say that I'm going to take complete stock in preseason and all, but it looked like they may have some issues defensively. Like DeAndre Jordan, I feel like they're better off with Jared Allen as a starter, but we know how those perimeters are with DeAndre Jordan. That's KD's boy, so he's going to still be in the
Right,
starting lineup
right.
regardless. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
And he
and
got
then
paid.
Jared Allen, oh my bad. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying he got a pretty good bag too, so you got to start him.
Right, exactly. And Jared Allen himself, like he is, like I said, he is better than DeAndre Jordan, but he's gonna have some issues himself, defensively. I think Jared Allen, he's got to work on being a little bit of a better rim protector, in my opinion. But like I said, I think they're a better team with Jared Allen in there. But I will say this: the one guy I'm not concerned about defensively is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, he looked like he about 90-95% right now. He looked like he's almost the full KD that we've grown to watch over the years. So I'm not concerned about that. And Kevin Durant offensively, he still got that deadly transition pull-up three, and he's just incredible. And Kyrie was doing his thing as well. So what do you think about Brooklyn overall for this season and how they're going to look?
Yeah, I think they'll look great. You pretty much hit the points as far as offensively. They're really deep. I love Joe Harris with the starters because he's one of the best setup shooters in the league. And you got him next to Kyrie and KD. He's going to get a lot of open looks. Also, Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie. Not sure who they're going to start or come off the bench, but one of those guys will be a six-man of the year candidate, depending on who's the sixth man. I'm not exactly sure what the starting five will be, but I love their depth, man. I think they have a lot of explosive guys. They can score 120 a night. I mean, they're going to be fun to watch. You got Steve Nash there, Mike D'Antoni trying to play the 7 seconds or less system, which is very interesting with Kyrie because we know he likes to dribble the ball a lot and kind of, eat the air out the ball. That's kind of what Kyrie's been known for. But I think now they're trying to make him more of a playmaker because in that system, you can't be dribbling the ball for 15 seconds, especially when you got KD. He's already kind of dealt with that with Russell Westbrook. So I think with Kyrie, he understands that now. He's more mature. And he's obviously a bucket. We know that. He's one of the best scorers in the league, one of the clutch players in the league. So, and they're great friends. So I think with that off the court relationship will help them on the court as well. But I do have my concerns defensively, like you said. But I think when it comes down to late in the season, when they really have to buckle down, I think they'll be all right because they have the pieces there to be at least a serviceable defensive team. I don't think they'll be great at any point this year, but I think they'll be good enough because their offense is so explosive to where they don't have to be a top 5, top 10 defense. As long as they're in the top half of the league, I think they'll be fine.
You want to know what I think about the Steve Nash and Mike D'Antoni dynamic? I think Steve Nash is just the face there, dog. I think Mike D'Antoni's coaching the team, man.
Oh, I said the same thing.
Yeah. They just kind of swept that on the rug because he got involved in a little controversy with the Houston Rockets and everything. But yeah, like it's interesting to see how that dynamic's gonna work in general with those two on the coaching staff and KD and Kyrie, because like you said, both of those guys, they pretty much isolation players for the most part. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they incorporate that in the system. And then you mentioned the 6 man on their team. Like there's like many options across the board about who's gonna be the 6 man on the Brooklyn Nets, just because they're that deep in talent. So I think they're gonna be a top 4 team somewhere, but there'll be a few bumps in the road here and there.
Yeah, I got them finished in 3rd in the East just because I think they'll do some low managing as well with Kyrie and KD. So their win total may suffer a little bit. So they may finish 3rd in the East, but that doesn't mean they're the 3rd best team, just record wise.
Right, exactly. I get what you're saying on that. All right, now moving right along. So what do you think? Who do you think had the best offseason and the worst offseason as far as the NBA teams are concerned, whether it was draft, free agency, etc.?
The best offseason, that's tough because it's a tricky thing, right? Because I want to say the Hawks, because I love what they did. They got Bogdanovich, got Rondo to help out Trae Young, the veteran, teach him the ropes. I love what they did in free agency. But at the same time, I want to say the Lakers because I think they got better. I think the champs got better because they did lose some pieces, but now they're more versatile, in my opinion. You got Marcus Gasol, stretch five. They didn't have that last year with Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. So it's going to be more floor spacing for LeBron to drive. Dennis Schroeder, the runner-up for Sixth Man of the Year. And then you got the Sixth Man of the Year, Montrezl Harrell. So I think they're deeper. I think they're more versatile. Their defense may not be as good, but I think it's still going to be pretty good. But it won't be like last year because last year they were maybe the best defensive team in the league. They'll still be top 10 in the league. They'll be fine. But I like the Hawks. I'll say the Hawks, though. The Hawks is the more fun answer here because I think they're going to be a playoff team. I love Trae Young. I think he's what, year 3 now? So he's going to really prove that he can play winning basketball because it was never his fault. It was just the fact they didn't have the pieces around him. But now they have some veterans. You got Gallinari. I didn't even mention Gallinari. I love Gallinari. And people forget, John Collins missed the first 20 games last year. So that right there may have cost them a chance to even make the playoffs last year because they started off really, really slow. So you got him from the beginning. I love them. We got Capella. He's going his first full year in Atlanta. So I think Atlanta.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I said Atlanta as well as far as best offseason because you pretty much broke it down, man. Because I told people this before. Like last season, Trae Young didn't have the savvy veterans to go along with that team. Like the only two veterans on the team was Vince Carter and Jeff Teague, and that was it. Everybody else was like 1 year, 2 year rookies.
Right.
So the veterans they got this offseason, I think the icing on the cake was getting Rajon Rondo to back up Trae Young, and he's definitely going to help Trae Young tremendously as far as leading the team and everything. Yeah. So I definitely got Atlanta in the playoffs this year. Now, as far as the Lakers are concerned, yeah, the Lakers are definitely up there for sure. It's quite interesting how they acquired all their talent, but Marcus Gasol, I ain't gonna go there, but Marcus Gasol was definitely a key acquisition because Marcus Gasol, he may not be the same Marcus Gasol physically, but he's still a very intelligent basketball player. He'll help the rest of the team bring that high IQ out of him. So he'll have the guys in the right positions defensively, in my opinion, because he's more well known for defense. Seeing that he did win Defensive Player of the Year before, and then of course you got Schroeder. He was a Sixth Man of the Year candidate. That's a big plus. Now the thing is that is Schroeder still tripping off whether he's trying to start or not? That's another thing you got to look at.
Yeah, I don't think he should start. I mean, I can't see him making that big of a deal of it because he signed there, and I don't know if they made an agreement he's going to start or not. I can't see that happening. So I don't know. I think he'll be fine, though. He has to come off the bench because it's just better for the team.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, Dennis, you've been coming off the bench your whole entire career, and when you did start, I think the team was worse with you starting rather than you come off the bench. So I think you should stick to his role, and I think he'll do a good job of it. Now, Montrezl, that is a good acquisition on paper too, but you got to wonder because Montrezl said some things about the Clippers about how they didn't like how Kawhi and Paul George getting preferential treatment, but then you got a guy like LeBron who's getting the most treatment out of anybody in the National Basketball Association. So you got to wonder how that works out, even though they both are clutch guys.
Yeah, but the difference is LeBron wins. That's the difference.
So
you can't get that treatment if you're Pandemic P, man.
You're right. You're absolutely right on that. I'm with you. So now, who do you think had the worst offseason?
Worst offseason? I didn't think about that. That's a tough question. But the first team that came to my head actually was the Pistons. I mean, you lost Christian Wood for not much. I mean, he signed with a 3-year deal for $40 million. I'm really high on him. I think that's a bargain. He could have got way more than that. And then they did get Jeremiah Grant, but I mean, that just doesn't move the needle at all. I mean, because now you're asking him to score you 20 points a night and defend at a high level. I just don't think he's that type of player. I just don't think he is. I think he was better in a role where he's your like third or fourth best player, but now he's like maybe your second best player, him or Blake Griffin. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Detroit just doesn't do it. They didn't do anything for me. I don't know what they did. I don't get it.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because, yeah, like Jeremy Grant, I'm not sure about his role in Detroit either because this is like totally different territory going from being just a role player to maybe getting a bigger role on Detroit. And then Detroit, like, they still trying to get rid of Blake Griffin's contract, and we don't know if that's possible. So they look like they kind of
Yeah,
stuck
and
with
the
him
thing
still.
is with Detroit, they're in a bad spot because they kept their roster good enough to win some games, but you hurt your lottery stock because you're not competing for a championship. You might not even you probably won't even make the playoffs, but you're still good enough to where you're gonna be like a 8, 9, 10 pick in the draft. Like you should either bottom out or be a title contender. You do not want to be in that gray area in the NBA. It's the worst area to be in because you don't get a high level pick and you just keep getting these 8, 9, 10 late lotto picks. I mean, they might hit maybe one day, but it hasn't hit so far. So
Yeah. Now, the one team that this may shock you, the one team that came to my mind, man, I hate saying it because I was pretty high on them last year because they had Kawhi, of course, but it's the Clippers, man. Like,
really, I
I,
feel
I,
like the Clippers got better.
I don't think they did, man. I think they took a back seat, man. Now, the good things they did do, they got Serge Ibaka and Luke Kennard. That was good. But the bad is you bring in Nicholas Batum, and Batum hasn't been healthy in the past few years. He's 32. I think he's broken down, man. I think you're gonna see like just a little bit of how good he is, but other than that, man, I just can't see how Batum makes a great contribution. And then you also resign, you also bring back Marcus Morris and Reggie Jackson. Marcus Morris, you seen those matchups against the Lakers
Oh,
once the Clippers traded for him. He didn't play
hold on,
well.
hold on.
I'm sorry.
No, I don't know what happened, but yeah. No, you said Marcus Morris. You don't like them resigning him?
Yeah, because he didn't play well in the big games. Like in most of the big games the Clippers played, he didn't show up. And especially against Denver, like when they had a chance to close out the series, he was terrible. And Reggie Jackson, he's a type of dude you can't really play long at all because if you play that dude more than 20 minutes, you just asking for trouble. So I think the Clippers took a back seat. But I mean, they still make the playoffs, but they'll be on the bottom fourth of the West to me.
The bottom four?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a
As
hot
far as
take.
making the playoffs, yeah.
I
Like
still
that
think
5 through
I
8
still think
range.
they're the second best team in the West. I still think they're the second best team in the West. I
I don't
mean,
know, man.
Serge Ibaka to me for them is a massive upgrade because Ibaka can stretch the floor. He's a better rim protector than Montrezl Harrell, and he already has a relationship with Kawhi. And I think that's a big factor, especially in the locker room. They've had some issues there. So you got a guy that you won a championship with in Toronto. And I still like Marcus Morris. I know he didn't play well in the playoffs, but at that point, they kind of had to keep him because they were already losing some guys. So that was kind of we had to hold on to this guy to keep our depth and keep some camaraderie. But I think the Ibaka deal is huge. Maybe I'm overselling it, but I think it was really a big deal.
Hey, I don't think you're overselling it at all, but it's just like, is that acquisition going to overcome, those other signings they made, which I think it hurts the team.
A lot depends on Luke Kennard. If Luke Kennard can stay healthy, because you look at his numbers, he averaged 15 a game. He's a
Right.
big upgrade over talent-wise than Landry Shamet. Like
Yeah.
he's way better than Landry. Like he can create off the dribble. He's a better shooter, better playmaker. But the thing with him is health. He only played like 40 games last year. So like you got a good point though, as far as getting guys that can't stay healthy. I mean, Batum, Luke Kennard. So it's a gamble for sure. But if they stay healthy, I think they got better.
Yeah, well, sure. We shall see. But we're gonna break down our playoff predictions here later on the show, so we'll get to it, man. But I want to talk about your NBA award predictions I've seen on Twitter, like not too long ago. Now I'm gonna go backwards here a little bit. First
Okay.
off, let's start off with the hot take. So as your hot take, you got Trae Young finishing the top 5 of the MVP voting. Now, I really personally, I don't think it's much of a hot take to me. I think year three is usually when guys just take off for real. And like you said earlier in the show, he got the veterans to go along with the nice young pieces now. So I don't think it's much of a hot take to me. So why did you feel it was a hot take in your eyes?
Oh, I feel like it's a hot take because it's a 50-50 argument on if Atlanta will even make the playoffs. I mean, I was doing my seedings and I barely had them in there. Like, it was actually, cause I thought at first there would be like a 6-7 seed, but when I really dived into the rosters and looked at everybody, I'm like, hold on, the East actually is a little bit better than people give it credit for this year. So it's not a guarantee they're making the playoffs, but I think they will make the playoffs, and he's going to put up big numbers like he did last year on a more of a winning team. So I think that'll put him in the top 5. But, I mean, you look at the MVP odds, I don't think he's top 5, top 10, so I'll consider it a hot take. And you look at, and also I want to tell you, you're looking at my old predictions. I made a new award predictions this week, but I still stick with that hot take though. But the rest of my predictions are probably different than the one you're looking at.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So yeah, man, like I think my hot take, I think I already said it, man. I'm probably gonna stick with the Clippers finishing the bottom 4 seeds to make the playoffs in the West. So that's gonna be my hot take. Now
that's a hot take. That's a real hot take.
Yeah. Now, Coach of the Year, you got Lloyd Pierce. That's a pretty good one. So, like, I think that's obvious. I'll probably go with you on that. Atlanta, they haven't been to the playoffs in a minute. So, if they make the playoffs off rip, I mean, he definitely should get that award, in my opinion.
Yeah, see, I could see that, but I switched that one now. I switched all my other predictions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so,
you're
so
looking at
them?
I posted them like 3 or 4 days ago.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
well, I missed them.
Yeah, I reassessed it. I changed it up because I kind of looked at the preseason and just analyzed it more. That was just like a rough draft predictions.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna read out the categories then. And see.
Just rough categories. Yeah, let's just do it like that. Yeah.
All right. So who you got for Rookie of the Year?
Rookie of the Year, I got LaMelo Ball. I just think his usage rate is going to be really high in Charlotte this year, and he's box office, man. He's Showtime. He's one of the best passers already in the league. I can already see it. His court vision is incredible. He's a better three-point shooter than people give him credit for. I think we kind of seen that a little bit in the preseason. And Charlotte will be a borderline playoff team. I mean, I don't think they'll make it. I know we're going to do that a little bit later. I think they're going to be riding outside looking in, but just the fact that they're going to be, I think, in the play-in game scenario. I think 9 and 10 are in the play-in games this year. I think 7 plays 10 and 8 plays 9. So I think they will be 10. So just the fact that they'll be in that situation, I think will give him the advantage over who I originally picked was Obi Toppin. But the way I see the Knicks, how they're kind of going to play, I'm not sure his stats are going to be as good to warrant Rookie of the Year. Plus, he's going to be on the worst team in the league probably because the Knicks are awful.
Ooh, man, dang, worst team in
the Knicks are bad. The Knicks are bad.
I don't know, man. Like Tibbs got to have the boys playing hard start the preseason. I think that alone, I think they're better than the Bulls. I think the Bulls might be the worst team.
They're not better than the Bulls. No way. No.
I think so.
we can put a bet on that.
Hey, we can. Sure. We can put 20 on it, whatever.
No, we'll bet dinner on that when I come to KC. We'll bet dinner on that.
All right, cool.
Better record. Bulls and Knicks. Better record.
All right, so I got the Knicks with a better record than the Bulls.
All right, bet.
All right, cool. All right, so but yeah, so for my Rookie of the Year, I'll probably agree with you to go with LaMelo myself, man. I think LaMelo got the goods, man. Like you said, he's probably the best passer of all the rookies we've seen in this draft class so far. And like you said, he's going to get the usage, and he's going to have an opportunity to do his thing. I think the coach in Charlotte, he's just going to give him the keys, and he'll go out there and drive the vehicle, and he'll go out there and do his thing. So I'm right with you on LaMelo.
Yep.
And plus LaMelo, man, he's more great. He's the only ball brother with the aggression, man. All the other dudes, man, I don't know. Lonzo, he's passive, and Jello, we don't know if he's going to get an opportunity.
Yeah, Melo, he's not scared to attack the rim, man.
Right. Right. That's what I like about him. I was like, okay, he is the best one because I just wasn't sure at first, but after I seen a little bit of preseason, I'm like, all right, maybe I could buy in on him. But
Yeah.
I'm ready for the real games to start. So
Right.
now we're gonna need an intervention on this one, man. I don't know if you still got him as the most improved player, but who you got as the most improved player?
Well, I got Christian Wood now because
Okay.
the thing is, I know you're gonna laugh because I had Andrew Wiggins, right? But Andrew Wiggins will be one of the most improved players. But the thing is, he doesn't really have much room to improve from a statistical standpoint. I mean, the man averaged 21, 22 points a game last year. So when I really thought about that, I'm like, he's probably going to average around the same. So he's going to be on a better team, obviously, but I don't think that's going to be enough for him to be most improved player of the year because most of the time they give it to a guy that was really, bad, quote unquote, statistically. Like Wood only averaged 13 last year. I think this year he's going to average close to 20. So just having that big gap, I think, is going to give him the edge.
Okay, cool. But yeah, we need an intervention with you and Andrew Wiggins for a second. Now, I understand Andrew Wiggins played at Kansas. You've been rhyming him for a long time, man. What? Okay, so why do you still have stock in Andrew Wiggins after all this time? Like, we know the stats, we know the points per game, but when I watch Wiggins play, I just don't see the heart. Look like he's just out there to get a check, man. That's just me.
Hey, I'm still on Wiggins Island, okay? And here's why. Because situation matters, man. And me really watching Andrew Wiggins throughout the years made me realize how much a situation can really hinder a player. Because think about it, okay? His first 3 years, he won Rookie of the Year his first year. His first 3 years, he averaged, I think, 16, went to 19 to 24. He averaged 24 his third year. Then after that, that's when they brought in Jimmy Butler and they brought in Tibbs. The offense completely changed. He turned into a spot-up shooter. The ball was in Jimmy Butler's hands pretty much all the time. Our cats. Wiggs was on the wing just chilling. It messed him up, man. It messed up his confidence because he was ascending. And then his numbers went down. Butler left. Numbers went back up. But the team, the structure, it was just never a great situation in Minnesota. They just didn't have the veteran leadership there. I know Butler came, but him and Tibbs, they were kind of like buddy-buddy. Wiggins was kind of left out the picture. I really believe now he's only 25 still. He's still young. We've seen guys blossom at this age. I mean, look at Oladipo. Oladipo didn't start off well in Orlando, in OKC. Went to Indiana, became an all-star. I'm not saying Wiggins is going to be an all-star because it's going to be hard to make it in the West. But I think he's in a great situation in Golden State. A team that's going to hold him accountable. He's playing with the best shooter ever. He's going to have a lot of floor spacing. And now without Klay Thompson, for Wiggins, it's really a blessing in disguise for him. Because with Klay there, he would have been the third, maybe fourth option. But now he's the second option. I think he's a clear second option behind Steph. He's a better scorer than Oubre. Obviously, Draymond Green. So if it doesn't happen this year, I'm done. Because there's no excuses now. It's right there on the platter for him to blossom this year.
Yeah,
Will you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, after listening to everything you said, yeah, I mean, it makes sense from your standpoint for sure. Because like when you have a player like Jimmy Butler coming in, things are going to change because Jimmy Butler is the bigger star. He's led his team to the playoffs pretty much every year, no matter what team he's been on. So I mean, they may have thrown Wiggins off a little bit, but I don't know. It's just something about the body language to me. But this year we'll see, man. Like with Klay out being out, like you said, there's no excuses. So hopefully Wiggins can get back to maybe close to 20 points a game.
Yeah, this is it. If it doesn't happen this year, you won't hear from me again.
All right, I'll remember that.
Yeah.
All right, so the next one, you got Sixth Man of the Year award. Who you got for Sixth Man of the Year?
So this is the weird one, right? Because I'm not exactly sure how they're going to play this. I said Caris LeVert, but he may start. I'm not sure, but I've done my research. It seems like he's going to come off the bench, and they're going to play Dinwiddie starting. So It depends. Whoever doesn't start between those two is my sixth man of the year. If it's Dinwiddie that comes off the bench, I'm picking Dinwiddie. If it's LeVert, I'm picking LeVert. So,
Okay, all right,
yeah.
that's pretty solid then. So yeah, man, because at first you did have Dennis Schroeder, but that's kind of a
And then we don't
sticky
know about
situation
him.
there
Is he
too.
gonna start? I don't know.
Right, exactly. So I can see one of the Nets players doing it. I mean, maybe like how if the Nets do have a good season, maybe like how the Clippers did last year when you had Lou Will and Montrez be the co-six man of the year. I mean, it could be something of that nature. We just
Yeah.
got to see how Brooklyn's gonna do their lineups.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see how it is on opening night.
Yeah, for sure. And then hit these last two here. Defensive player of the year. Who you got for defensive player of the year?
I think this is the easiest one. Anthony Davis. Because the
He should.
fact that he didn't win it last year is going to help him because the narrative is going to be on the side now. Because most people thought he should have won last year, and I do too. So now he has kind of had that sympathy award effect, kind of, you know what I'm saying? And he'll deserve it. I mean, to me, I think he's the best defensive player in the league. I can't believe Giannis won it. Giannis didn't really guard the best players night in and night out. Yeah, he got your blocks on the weak side, but straight up man-to-man defense, I didn't really see it. So we could consider all of that. The narrative, him playing on the Lakers, didn't win it last year. To me, this is the easiest award to predict.
Okay. So I don't know. I don't know if it really is a sympathy award because, like you said last year, I thought him or Bam Adebayo should have won last year as far as defensive player of the year, in my opinion. Because the funny thing about Giannis winning it, I don't really go into metrics like that, but I seen that James Harden surprisingly had a better defensive rating than Giannis as well, believe it or not. So
I didn't know that.
so it's kind of interesting how Giannis won that award. But hey, but I think Anthony Davis could definitely win it, but I just don't see the media leaning his way, man. I mean, you know who has the media power in this league. So I'm gonna go ahead and say Bam Adebayo. I think Miami can get back to the finals, and I think Bam Adebayo is gonna win it this year.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
All right, and now for the MVP. Who you got for the MVP this year?
Wardell, Steph Curry.
Woo! All right.
I'm here. I'm back. Because I think the Warriors, the narrative is kind of against them. People are saying they won't make the playoffs, which I think is absurd. I think that's crazy. Look at that roster. There's no way they're missing the playoffs. There's no chance. I think they're going to be top 4 in the West. That's how I think they're going to be top 4. So with that being into effect, top 4 in the West, Steph Curry's going to average nearly 30 points a game, 7-8 assists, 4 or 5 rebounds. The numbers will be there. The wins will be there. And I think the narrative will be there because he's going to lead them to top 4 in the West when people are saying they won't even make the playoffs. So that'll be looked at as a heroic performance by him. And the fact that he missed all of last year, people are going to be so happy to see him back, raining threes from 35 feet, winning games. I think he's going to win MVP this year, man.
That's what I had. I had Wardell, Stephen Curry myself. I know Luka is currently the biggest favorite right now, but I think everybody to count on the Luka too much now, and it's like you said, I think some people are still forgetting about Steph, and I think Steph is currently like 4th in the odds right now for MVP. So I like those odds, and Steph. I mean, with Klay out right now, he's going to get even more usage with the ball. So I think Steph's going to go crazy. It would surprise me if Steph averaged 30 points per game, or if not close to that. And
yeah, I mean, he scored so easily. Like the other night in preseason against the Kings, he had 29 in 3 quarters.
Yeah. That was the Steph. That was the Steph we've accustomed to seeing. So yeah, I'm very high on Steph winning MVP this year myself. All right, so now that we done got to the awards and stuff, let's get to playoff predictions. 1 through 8 seed. Let's start with the East at first. So who you got 1 through 8 in the East? Starting with the 8 seed.
Starting with the 8. Okay, I got Atlanta at 8. At 7, I'm going Washington with Westbrook and Beal. At 6, I got Toronto. 5, Got Boston at 5. Philly at 4. Brooklyn at 3. Miami at 2. And Milwaukee at 1.
Okay, all right. So you kind of down on Toronto, I see. I got Toronto actually a little higher than that on mine. So on mine, here's what I got. I got Magic as the 8th seed. I got the Pacers as the 7th seed. I got Hawks as the 6th seed. Celtics 5, Nets 4, Raptors 3, Heat 2, and the Milwaukee Bucks at number 1. So I'm much higher than you on the Toronto Raptors, man, because they got Malachi Flynn. He's like the Fred VanVleet 2.0 on their team, come off the bench.
I like.
So I mean, you got the Fred VanVleet and Larry in the backcourt, and you can put Flynn off. You can bring Flynn off the bench, and Toronto will still be okay. And I think Siakam, man, Siakam's still a young player. He had his first playoff experience in a bigger role, and he just had to get used to it. I think he'll learn from that, and I think he'll get better the next time the Toronto's in the playoffs. So I'm pretty high on Toronto. And then,
but you're not concerned about their interior losing Marc Gasol and Ibaka?
No, because they got Aaron Baines. I mean, Aaron Baines kind of helps with that for one. So, and Aaron Baines, he's won everywhere he's gone. So, like Phoenix last year, they almost made the playoffs. Like, they went undefeated when the bubble restarted. And the only reason they didn't get in is that they just didn't have an extra game to make up. So, but I'm not really too concerned about that. And then OG Anunoby is going to improve even more as a player, in my opinion.
All right, we'll see.
Yeah, and then I didn't say Philly because here's the thing with Philly, man. Like, if they don't get James Harden, I can just see Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons finally bump heads, and I can see Joel Embiid want to choke the heck out of Ben Simmons, and then the Sixers, they somehow miss the playoffs, man.
Oh, I didn't even realize you don't have them in the playoffs. I missed that.
Yeah, I don't have them in the playoffs right now.
Whoa, you're crazy.
Nah.
You're wild, bro. You don't believe that, Charles. Come on.
Nah, I really do believe that, man. Like, Ben Simmons and Joel
Orlando is better. Orlando.
Yeah, dog. Like, they really tired of each other. And I'm concerned about their health too, man.
Wow. All right.
All right, so let's go out west, man. Who you got out west? Start with the 8th seed.
I got Portland finishing 8 again. At 7, who do I got at 7? Oh man, who do I got at 7? Oh, Utah at 7. At 6, I have Dallas. At 5, I have Denver. At 5. At 4, Golden State. 3, who do I got at 3? Houston. That's assuming James Harden is on the team all year, by the way.
Okay.
Houston at 3. 2 Clippers, 1 Lakers.
All right, so you got Denver like smack dab in the middle. So do you think Denver missing Jeremy Grant's gonna bubble down a little bit like that?
Yeah, I think that's a big loss as far as defensively. I love Michael Porter Jr. I've been high on him probably more than anybody else in the media the past 2 years. I think he's great offensively, but he's a turnstile defensively. He's a complete turnstile defensively, and I don't think that's going to be fixed in 1 year. He's going to have a couple of years to go to really work on his lateral quickness and just the IQ of playing defense at the NBA level because he hasn't had to play defense his whole life, man. He's long, athletic. He kind of got away with just playing lackadaisical defense because he could score 40 points easily. But I think that's a big loss for them because their defense, I mean, even with Jeremiah Grant, was one of the worst in the bubble. And people forget. I think we're getting too high on Denver. Bubble Jamal Murray, I think, was a thing. Will he play like that in a regular season throughout the year? I'm not convinced. The bubble was different. Guys were playing at a higher level than they normally were in the bubble. Now it's back to regular basketball, traveling, things like that. So I want to see, can he really play like that for a whole year? I'm not convinced. And also, people forget, they were down 3-1 to Utah. Utah could have very well won that series, and the whole narrative on Denver would have been totally different right now. So I think we're kind of drinking too much of Denver's Kool-Aid right now.
Okay. Great points, man. I can't argue that. Those some great points, man, because I am a little high on Denver this year, but you mentioned some great points in regards to that. Now, Jamal Murray, even though it is going to be back to the regular season, like Denver, they'll be fine in the regular season because they'll still be playing at altitude out of Denver, and those guys are accustomed to that altitude already. But the loss of Jeremy Grant, I mean, it definitely is a concern. I mean, they got Jermichael Green, but he ain't going to fully replace what Jeremy Grant brought to the table. But I think they'll still be pretty good, in my opinion. And I think Michael Porter Jr., he does take a little bit of a leap this year. I still got a little bit of stock in him myself.
And then also, I want to say this as well, too, though. Just because they're 5, it's not an indictment on them. Because last year, there were like 4 or 5 teams in the West that were separated by 2 games. So just because they're 5, they could be 2 games out of being 3rd. So that doesn't mean, like, I just think they're not really good. Like, it's going to be that close. I think it's going to be that close again.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked either way. Now, there's another team that you're not really sold on. I see you got the Blazers still at 8, despite their offseason moves. So why do you think the Blazers are still just the 8th seed, despite acquiring guys like Robert Covington and Derrick Jones Jr. and bringing back Enes Kanter?
Because they're still awful defensively. I mean, Portland may be the worst defense team in the league.
Whoa,
I mean, they're bad defensively. I mean,
what?
we saw it last year. They give up 120 points a game in the bubble. Like, they are awful defensively.
Yeah,
and
last year, but
Covington is not going to hide all those weaknesses.
Wow. Okay. You don't think him and Derrick Jones Jr. are going to make that much of a difference?
Derrick Jones doesn't play defense, man. Come on.
What you mean? Don't play defense? I'm not saying he a lockdown dude, but he gave some good effort out there in the limited minutes he had, and he's long.
The thing is,
he can move laterally.
Their ceiling defensively is always going to have a certain cap on it. When you have Dame and CJ in the backcourt, that's probably one of the smallest backcourts in the league, man.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to hide that. It really is.
Yeah, you got a point there. Now, I'm a little higher on Portland than you. I'm just going to run mine down real quick, and then I'm going to get back to Portland. All right, so the 8th seed, I got the Phoenix Suns. I think Chris Paul going there is going to be just enough. He's going to lead that team to the promised land and get back in the playoffs. Because that team has enough talent, along with his leadership, to get to the playoffs this year. The number 7, I got the Utah Jazz. And I got the Clippers at number 6. I'm pretty down the Clippers. Number 5, I got the Blazers. About a little bit of stock. Number 4, I got the Warriors. Number 3, I got the Mavericks. 2, the Nuggets. 1, the Lakers. Now, after what you said about the Nuggets, I may reconsider. I may switch that up. I may bump them down maybe 1 or 2 spots. I might bump them down to number 4. We'll see. But back to the Blazers, though. I think those additions the Blazers made, I think that helps them out a little bit, man. But here's the problem that the Blazers are gonna run into, like they've been running into every year. CJ and Dame, they really both shooting guards, honestly. Like, I'm not saying Dame can't run the point, but Dame, he's kind of like the Iverson of this era. You know what I mean? Like, he can play make when he wants to, but he's more of a scoring guard. And I had this discussion with somebody like before John Wall got traded to Houston and everything, and I said, like, if there was a hypothetical trade scenario between like John Wall and CJ McCollum, and that trade actually happened, I think Dame being at the 2 and John Wall being at the point would benefit Dame even more, in my opinion, if that trade had happened. And then on Washington's end, they would benefit too because CJ McCollum will finally get to play the point because CJ, he's really a point guard because he played that position at Lehigh. So that's just my 2 cents on Portland in that matter.
That's a good point.
All right, so we're going to get down to the NBA Finals prediction. All right, so who you got come out the West and the East? And who's going to win it all?
All right, so I got the finals most people probably have. Lakers Nets.
Okay.
I just think Yeah, I just think the Nets, they're just too talented. I think when it comes down to it, close game situations, they got two closers, maybe the two best closers in basketball, in Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So I think that'll put them over the top in the East. And the Lakers, I think the gap between the Lakers and the second best team in the West is pretty significant. I think the Lakers just got that much better. So I just think that factor, the fact that they can win so many different ways now, they're more versatile offensively. It's going to be hard to beat them. So I got Lakers Nets in the finals.
All right. So, yeah, for the NBA Finals, the West took a little bit of a backseat this offseason, man. So, yeah, Lakers going back. You'll see the Lakers back in the finals. And then the East, I think it's gonna be a rematch, man. I think it'll be Lakers and Heat again. Now, I do like the talent.
I thought you were going Brooklyn for sure.
Nah, I mean, I like Brooklyn. I would love to see Kevin Durant back in the finals, but it's like it's year one. And, we've seen teams in the past in year one work things out and get to the finals right away. We've seen it with the Heatles era. We've seen it with the Big Three or the Big Four in Boston. Teams like that. But with Nets, I just don't know, man. I just don't know how the dynamics fully gonna work. I think right now, the Nets do look good in the preseason so far, but at some point when they go through adversity, you just gotta wonder if it's gonna be like a ticking time bomb at some point with the Brooklyn Nets. That's just my thing. But the Brooklyn Nets, I think they got the ability to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'll say that. And yeah, the Lakers, they probably gonna win it again. So Lakers, they go back to back.
That hurt for you to say that, huh?
It kind of does, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. It kind of does.
Mr. Lakers fan. That's so sad you can't enjoy the Lakers winning right now, man.
No, I really can't enjoy this, man. Like, this era of NBA basketball is just, it's soft. It's soft in comparison to what I watched in the past, man.
Yeah, I got Lakers repeating too, man. It's just too much, bro. It's just they're the deepest team in the league. They got the best duo in the league, the best player in the league, LeBron James.
So, you mean AD? You mean Anthony Davis?
The two of the top three players in the league. So it's just they're gonna win it back. They're gonna win it back to back, man.
Okay, cool. All right, so how many games though? How many games you got it going?
I got the Lakers in 6 over the Nets.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be in 6 again for the Lakers over the Heat. That's what we got, man. Now, sidebar, just to close out this special here. The play-in tournament. How do you feel about the play-in tournament being added to the schedule this year?
I like it, man. I think it's cool. Some more playoff intensity type of games. Gives teams more opportunities. I think it's very valuable for the West this year because we did our rankings, right, in the West. There's 2 to 3 good teams that we left out the playoffs. Like the Pelicans are going to be pretty good. We left them out. Who else did we leave out? I left out the Suns. You got the Suns in, but the Suns are good. They might not make it. I mean, the West is stacked, man. The Spurs are always going to be solid. Yeah,
the Spurs, man. I just can't see a team led by DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, the Spurs, they're done, but they're still a formidable team,
Yeah, I mean, the rest of the talent, yeah, they got some talent there, but still. But I left the Rockets out because I don't know about the James Harden situation. That's why I left them.
Yeah, you left the Rockets out. Like, the Rockets are going to be good, pretty good. So.
Yeah. But to me, the play-in tournament, man, I think it's one of the dumbest ideas ever put into the NBA, dog. Like, here's the thing: the play-in tournament. Right before the playoff tournament starts, what if you're a 7th seed and you're a half game behind the 4th seed or whatever, and you still got to play in that play-in game despite being that half game behind? Like, nah, man. Like, we still contend for the 4th seed.
That's a good point.
So why the heck we got to play in this tournament? Like, it doesn't make no sense to me, man. I'm sorry.
Would you have liked it if it was just like the 9 and 8 if they were like within 3 games of each other?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah, man.
your problem is the 7 seed being involved. That's your problem. Okay.
I mean, yeah, just in general, bro, because I mean, you don't force a team to play in this playing tournament, and they still in contention to get a 4th seed, even though we like a few games away from the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. That's a good point. That's a good point. You made me rethink. That's a good point.
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of playing tournament, but it's whatever. It's incorporated now, so.
Yep. More money,
But
man. You know, it's all about the money, man.
right, exactly. All right, Mark. Well, Mark, I appreciate you coming on this NBA season preview, man. You know, it's been a long time coming, man, and you've been doing some great things out in LA, bro. Like, even though we don't agree on everything at times, but at the same time, at the end of the day, I still support you no matter what, bro. Because, like you always say, you a kid from Kansas City. You representing pretty much all of us here, dog. Trying to get where you at, bro.
Yeah. Appreciate you, man. We gotta do it again. Next time I will not be in the car. But yeah, we gotta do it again, like the midway point, so we can kind of see where our predictions are looking at.
Yeah, most definitely, for sure. I'll definitely have you back on at some point, my brother.
All right, man. Appreciate you, bro.
All right, you take care. All right, guys. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the CPENN4THEWIN show. Until the next episode, we out of here.